So we have all heard the phrase, all I needed to learn, I learned in my kindergarten. But did we really? Kindergarten taught me sharing is caring. Life taught me accumulate and save. Kindergarten taught me kindness and empathy. Life taught me be cautious. Kindergarten taught me don't worry, be happy. Life taught me work hard, study harder, get good grades. 98% is not enough. Get a job, pass your exams, get a house, get a car, get everything so far, far away from don't worry, be happy. How was I to know that everything that I had learned in kindergarten will get thrown out of the window as I traipse through life? I didn't. How was I to know that all the insecurities and complexities and perplexities of life, learning and having to unlearn and relearn, will find their way within me? I didn't. Until I found stage for the second time in my life. There was a whole new learning, a whole new realization that followed. The first time I stumbled on stage was as a little 3-year-old. My parents tell me that I was very curious and inquisitive, and they had taken me out to see a dance performance, but instead of sitting down quietly in the audience, I sneaked up behind, went up on the stage, turned my face around and started dancing to the moving shadows of the performers. I was happy. I was in my don't worry, be happy zone. My parents realized my spirit, and when I turned 5, they enrolled me into a classical dance lesson that went on for nearly next decade of my life. But a few days before I turned 15, I was called and told that my dance lessons are cancelled. The only explanation I was given was, girls of our community don't dance. What had gone wrong? What did I miss? I was working hard. I was getting good grades. I was an A-grade student. And still no dance? What did I miss? The carpet was pulled under my feet. I was crushed. I stood still. I stood voiceless. Anyways, life evolved. I evolved with a little more worry and a lot less happy. And then I rediscovered stage for the second time, but in a different avatar now. My partner in crime and life was a stage addict. And little did my parents know when they were sealing my union what they were signing me off to. For the first time in my life as a married woman, I got a job. I was earning, I was paying my taxes, I was confident, I was happy. So when a little window of opportunity opened for me to get back on stage, I grabbed it. I was looking at my happiness from a different perspective. I went up on stage as an amateur actor. I distinctly remember in my first play that I did as an amateur actor, I had just one recurrent line in the entire 90-minute play, and that went, "Ayyo, what will happen now?" I was asked to emote exactly like this, crying every time I was supposed to say the lines. I did exactly what the director directed. I practiced, I rehearsed on stage exactly as I was told. But somewhere it felt forced. It felt fake. At home, when I would rehearse in front of the mirror, I would try different variations. I would go, "Ayyo, what will happen now?" I would go, "Ayyo, what will happen now?" I would go, "Ayyo, what will happen now?" But mind you, on stage I did exactly I was told, except for this one time where perhaps out of sheer exhaustion, or maybe my nerves got the better of me, I did differently, and the audience erupted into a laughter. That made me realize something right then and there, that perhaps I had a little sensibility about stage humor. I had found a little voice. My voice opened a little. I was more emboldened. I decided to take a plunge into directing. Now mind you, I've never directed anything on stage until then. And I dipped my hand into directing a difficult genre, comedy. Comedy, as many of you know, depends upon an impeccable timing on stage, and it depends upon the chemistry between the director and the actor. I was a first-time director. I was nervous. I did not know what or how to move around. So I took up all that tool that I could find and invested in my directing philosophy. In India, we have a saying that goes, "Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed," that translates in English as request, reward, reprimand, repress. In other words, by all means get things done. And I did that. I was successful, my plays were successful, my actors did great. I was on the brink of achieving my dreams on stage. But there was something that was still amiss. I pondered and realized that I was not happy, maybe because I was directing works written by other playwrights. So what could I do? I was hungry, hungry to learn, hungry to do more. I was hungry for happiness. So obviously, I decided to pick my pen up and start penning my own scripts. Now, writing was not something new to me, because as a young girl, I did write poems, they got published. But what I was not sure about was how these writings will translate into script. But the moment I picked my pen, I started writing, words started flowing, creativity took shape, and I was amazed to see all these characters that I was building. I lived every character, and every character lived in me. I was the protagonist, I was the antagonist, I was the damsel in distress, I was the clown. I lived 1,000 lives through my scripts. I had found a little more space on stage through my pen. I was happy. Then I moved on to directing my own plays. That was cathartic. It was amazing to see my script, my papers translate into acts on stage. My characters that I had lived as a solo writer move around as my actors, do as I designed. It was an amazing journey, but I was still not very happy. What was I missing here? Was that in my process of directing, script writing, I had built a shell or a wall around me. I had become frigid. I had become a difficult director to work with. I was very, very cold. I wanted to break that shell. How could I do that? So once again, I turned towards my kindergarten, picked up those little learnings of empathy and kindness, and decided to incorporate it in my directorial philosophy. It was not easy. I was scared. I was very apprehensive. But what I was most amazed about was that The moment I removed the table between me as a director and my actors, I had removed my wall. I had shed my inhibition. I had allowed myself to become vulnerable, and I had allowed my work to get translated on stage as this amazing body of work. I had improved my interpersonal relationships. So kindergarten helped me move ahead. If only I could turn time back and tell the little me of past that all those lessons are important, I would do it. But now I was much ahead in time. So what could I do? I decided to bring my stage and my kindergarten closer. I entered into the next phase of my life. I entered into my kindergarten class, but this time as an educator. The moment I saw those 22 pairs of twinkling eyes look at me, I was once again transported into my don't worry, be happy zone. I held my classroom, my kindergarten, and my stage close. My education work grew. I needed help. I could not do everything on my own. I was looking for help. I was looking around for people who shared the same ideologies and beliefs in making a change through education, who had the time and the passion to dedicate to this field, who were creative on stage but compassionate in class. And I found my tribe in fellow women. Educated women living in Hong Kong who in their past lives were doctors, engineers, journalists, holding good professional status and stages. But in Hong Kong, they were trailing spouses, either out of work or unable to find work or not working because of personal choice. But everybody had a fire. We had same principles. They became my tribe. They became my people. They helped me rise. And they still hold me every time I'm about to fall. So my journey as an artist has been a whirlwind. I have tried to integrate my kindergarten, what I learned in my kindergarten, what I learned in my stage, very close with equal zeal and warmth. I do not know where I will go from here. But what I do know is that between my first cry and my last laugh, I will endeavor. I will keep persisting. I will not give up. I will learn, I will unlearn, I will relearn. And I will allow the child in me to be the driver of the artist in me. And while I know happiness is elusive, I will persist. And I will summarize my talk with this little poem, Stopping by the Woods in a Snowy Evening. The line reads as, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep." Thank you.